Schloss Tonndorf is located in eastern Germany, with 15 hectares, an old castle, a collection of buildings, a forest, grasslands, gardens, and orchards amid the beautiful cultivated landscape of Thüringen. The community has more than 50 residents, 20 of whom are children. Schloss Tonndorf is a community rich with children.
Wenn Menschen fragen, warum wir hier zusammengekommen sind, würde wahrscheinlich jeder eine andere Antwort geben.
If someone asks why we came together here, everyone in the community would probably give a different answer. My answer is that I want to live a purposeful life, and that means something different to every person. To me, it includes things like growing our own food, building houses in a healthy way, giving birth to children in a beautiful way, seeing them grow up here, thinking about the ways that they learn, how we ourselves learn, how we quarrel, make decisions, do business together. An adult who wants to join the community gives 10,000 euros to the cooperative. This money is returned if the person wants to leave, so you are not forced to leave your money when you leave the project. The people who stay here try to return this money as soon as possible. It's even easier than it is for a married couple to buy a house if they contract with a bank for a big loan and later might have a conflict and need to sell the house. You don't have these problems here. So everyone who lives here is a co-owner of the place and co-decides with the others. We use consensus here. At the same time, everyone is a tenant who contributes to our own legal form, the cooperative, with money, with service, depending on the possibilities of the member. From what we receive in rent, we finance renovations, new construction, and all other expenses.
Baufortschritte finanziert oder alle anderen Ausgaben, die wir hier haben.
Und wir nutzen das ganz gut. Wir haben so verschiedene Gruppen gegründet, eine Baugruppe und eine Finanzgruppe.
We've formed different groups, a building group, a finance group, a garden group, and so on. And these groups speak with each other. They discuss questions and solve many problems by themselves. Other issues can be brought to the plenum, which meets weekly and seeks to decide matters by consensus. We usually succeed with that.
Und der Anspruch ist auf jeden Fall, dass wir im Konsens entscheiden. Wir kriegen das auch meistens gut hin.
Wir haben Gewerbe hier am Platz.
We have craft businesses here on the place. For example, we built an apiary 2 years ago, and one of our members is keeping 100 different types of bees. These bee folk fly around, benefiting the place, and the honey is sold here. There are people who make sparkling wine with elder blossoms. Little by little, we see an increase in the number and diversity of products that we can make here. Together, we opened a catering service here and extended the kitchen so that we can cook for up to 150 people. This summer, we'll start to provide school meals for the Waldorf School in Erfurt. Almost everyone who lives here wants to work here. There are still some who work outside, teachers, social workers, and others, but in general, everyone would rather spend more time here. It feels quite strange to spend a full business week outside of the place, then only participate in the community happenings during the weekends. So it's very likely in the future that the midwife will be doing her birth preparation courses here, and that Annette fulfills her wish to care for old people here, and that other people will also earn their living in the community by bringing their work here.
Ja, wir haben ein großes Interesse, uns selbst zu versorgen und schaffen das in ein paar Bereichen auch schon.
We have a great interest in self-sufficiency and are succeeding with that in a few areas. Behind me, you see an orchard meadow where last year we succeeded for the first time in providing enough apples for the whole year. We took the last apples out of our cold cellar to make room for the new harvest. That was a really beautiful moment. We make applesauce and apple juice from our apples, and we have a lot of stone fruits as well. Last year we started a vegetable garden, and now we can provide vegetables and salad for half a year. We founded a food co-op, and we buy 100% organically produced food, so that the nutrition here is 100% organic. We cook once each day for everyone who's here at lunchtime. We cook vegetarian and often even vegan. Yes, visitors always ask, what kind of community are you? And there's really only one answer. We don't have a common dogma. In the community, there are many different spiritualities, many different attitudes. There are non-spiritual people here as well as very spiritual people. It's exciting to accept people just as they are.
Das Spannende ist eigentlich, dass wir immer wieder darauf achten, die Menschen, die hier sind, so zu nehmen, wie sie sind, ohne sie anders machen zu wollen.
Seit Jahren haben wir hier ein Infocafé, das ist...
For a few years now, we've had an info cafe that's open every first and third Sunday of the month. So every 2 weeks we invite people from the outside, especially from the neighborhood. This got around without any advertisement, and on these weekends we normally have between 15 and 30 visitors. It's a good connection with the neighbors. All these people who visit speak about us afterward, what they saw and heard, and it helps to relieve the prejudice and rumors that often surround intentional communities.
Menschen sich zusammentun zu einer Gemeinschaft langsam wieder zum Erliegen bringt.
Personally, I am a human who looks very optimistically into the future, and so sometimes I am subject to some criticism. Some people say, he is unrealistically optimistic, it didn't work out again. But that doesn't disturb me, because I know that this optimism gives me power, and it doesn't need statistical verification. On the other hand, there is always the opposite. In every community, there is someone who embodies your opposite, and that helps you to see your reflection more perfectly. My opposite is very cautious, all the time worrying and seeing risks in everything. So there exists a perfect balance. Now and then, I give weekend seminars for people who want to live in community and who are just starting out. I recommend that people who watch this movie try living in community. Once, I heard a nice presentation by an American woman on the topic of living in community. She used Noah's Ark as a metaphor about the different learning possibilities. One thing she said was to make the leap, that at some point you have to jump into the ark. Otherwise, you will live your whole life just talking about it and holding on to the idea. And in the end, you will still not know how it might have been. That would be a pity. Here in this country, in Eastern Germany, there are so many beautiful places that are still affordable. But in any country, there are possibilities to buy a piece of land and put something on it, and try to live together with people. I do not know a more beautiful challenge in this time, except traveling to the stars to get to know other life forms. It is a very deep, persistent, and challenging experience. I see how children are fostered here, that they almost develop sibling relationships, although they have only a single father or mother. There is no such thing as an only child here, and it is easier for single parents not to feel isolated. Everyone is integrated in this kind of social surrounding. There is a strong connection between children and adults that doesn't depend on whether they are related by blood. This connection is based on friendship. I find that healthy. It feels natural. I don't know whether this is the will of God or from evolution over millions of years of living together, but I think that we as human beings are meant to live together and not be isolated from each other. Even with all of the difficulties and troubles that you might experience in community on account of your origin, your social conditioning, and the inner pain that we carry, it's worth it. In Siebenlinden, they use the analogy of sharp stones in a river that slowly get washed smooth by tumbling around with each other. This is a picture that I like a lot.
Das ist ein Bild, was mir sehr gut gefällt.